My cycle start plan for last epoch was a Ballista hybrid Falcon Bomber. Basically, my ballistas explode, destroying everything on screen, and the Falcon bombs anything that's left. This went really well. Not only did I go through the campaign smoothly with only one death in the entire time it took me to reach Empowered Monos, unless there's a death I forgot somewhere, but also I set a new record. 7 hours to get all the way through the campaign and almost to Empowered Monos, then another couple hours to unlock them, although it's a little hard to tell the last 2 hours if it was actually 8 hours, 9 hours, or 10 hours because I was actually recording. So, you win some and you lose some. Either way, new record for me by far. It's been an absolute breeze, and so today, instead of talking about theory, I wanted to talk about my current gear, then discuss future plans. And if you want to see what those future plans turn out to be, since they're often subject to change, do be sure to get subscribed, leave a like while you're down there. For now, let's get into what I have right now. Now, if you're concerned about the nerfs to Dive Bomb, let me assure you, this build felt better than I expected it to, and I had very high expectations going in. It was absolutely amazing. You were chunking things left, right, and center, even during the campaign, and that continued all the way through to Empowered Monoliths, something that I wasn't expecting. I constantly thought, okay, there's going to be a point where my damage falls off. Okay, there's a point where I start to feel squishy. Okay, there's a point where this falls apart. Nope, it never happened. Everything has been an absolute blast. Now, as a warning, my gear is very scuffed. A lot of my choices aren't final, and I'm not going to be talking about skills. If you want to know about the skill choices, go look at my previous video. Because I just got to Empowered Monos, and because the skills just reached rank 20, I haven't done any experimentation yet, so it just looks like it used to, and you can also join my Discord, where there's a planner that will be live updated on Maxroll. Also, as a quick warning, this is very experimental. I'm still changing a ton of stuff. If you want a surefire 100% works guide, use Maxroll's leveling guide, into Dive Bomb Falconer, or into Explosive Ballista Falconer instead. Or alternatively, you can wait for the final build video and play it as a character later. But for now, let's get into some of my passives and gear, the choices I've made, and the things I've changed. Right now, I'm level 77 and missing 1 passive point. So, I have 20 points in Rogue. The goal here is to spend the points as efficiently as possible, starting with Steady Hand for Dexterity, then getting Evasion for the massive damage reduction, and Haste for a nice damage boost. In Marksman, this is where I've started to fill things out. I only ended up with 1 point in draining arrows because my health sustain seemed totally fine. I'll reassess this in the future. Also, bow attack speed isn't helping me when I'm running out of mana because I don't really have mana rolls. Then we've got Focus Fire, more dex, and debuffing enemy dodge, so that annoying chance to dodge mono mod, yeah, it's not a mod. And Assassin's Quiver coming into Woundmaker, so I'm going to have crit vulnerability very soon. I have not taken anything yet in Blade Dancer, but I do plan to get Cloak of Shadows. And now in Falconer, I started out with Wilderness Scout just to be able to unlock Outlander's Tenacity later, filled out Raptor's Wings, and filled out Handler. I specifically started with Handler and then went on to other things as I needed the points to fill out the early areas. Reason I have Crimson Sky is not because I'm a bleed build or anything, it's just for the extra defenses. So 10% less damage taken over time seems pretty good. Actually 15 because it stacks 3 times, but I tend to have 2 stacks a lot. This is really good. Gives me a pretty decent endurance threshold even as a rogue. Ranger's Mark is a 1-point wonder. I just want to get Falcon melee damage buff. It's really all there is to it. Next, for now, I did skip Blast Radius. My AoE seems big enough. I might just skip that entirely and focus on other defensive nodes such as Deflect and Weave. Of course, Tactician, really powerful. You absolutely want this. Evasion Tactics, that way you can get Stymphalian Feathers, one of the best defensive nodes Rogue has. Oh, and this is probably why my health is so good. Now, Coordinated Fade, it gives some health, and I set it to 2. This is where I have Shift. And so every time I shift, I get Silver Shroud. Intuitive Connection, all Falcon abilities are instant cast. Needle-like Precision, gonna max that out very soon. Gotta get all that minion crit chance and crit multi. Finesse Femme, I ended up way overstacking crit avoidance. That's totally fine, because as it turns out, it's just minion crit multi, so I have like 400% Falcon crit multi right now. And then Tailwind for defenses. Now coming over to my stat sheet, right now I have 68 dex. My resistances are not great for entering Empowered Monos, but I haven't died yet, so it's fine. And honestly, it's not terrible given the state of my gear. I've got a little bit of armor, mostly from the dex stacking, a little bit of dodge. But here's the really cool thing. I have so much crit avoid that if you look here, minion crit strike multi 400%. Yeah, my Falcon crit's really hard. I just need to get some actual Falcon crit chance now. Probably inheriting it from my bow, but my current bow, not very good. It was certainly good enough when I got it as a drop. For idols, yeah, remember how I said I was just going to use random idols that dropped? It's basically what I've done. Life, res, all that sort of stuff. I'll fill it out with better things as I get them. This is the bow that I got. It's pretty darn nice for when I found it while progressing through monoliths. It could definitely be a lot better, but it has the T5 minion melee and minion bow damage. It also has bow fizz and bow cold. What I would really like, though, is something with bow crit rate so that I can transfer that over and do as much damage as possible. That's the next project, probably. For the rest of my gear, I've got a big old crit avoid roll here. It's a falconry helm. I couldn't not use it. It's actually kind of insane. The shuriken mod is dead, and the vitality seemed useful. I managed to get a bone amulet with 81% increased crit chance. That's pretty good. Also, fizz and cold res, since I need that, I'm wearing Morning Frost. I went with woven flesh to originally cap my crit avoid, and as it turns out, no, it's just really good. So now I have a woven flesh on, and all that goes straight into minion crit multi. This quiver I picked up at something like level 30 and crafted it. It's bad, and I should replace it soon. I very recently found this belt. It has 2 suffixes, 1 prefix. I'm going to craft mana regen on it. Actually, you know what? Let's do that right now. So, mana regen at affix. Of course it crit. But one time I don't want it to crit. And the reason I didn't want it to crit, I wanted to use a glyph of despair. God damn it. Well, it didn't seal. Oh, it did! T3 seal! Cool. So my belt just got a lot better. Oh, that's weird. The sealed affix doesn't look the same anymore. That's freaky. For my rings, the minus throwing attack cost is mostly for my Ballista. I should probably phase that out for mana regen at this point. Then a bit of dex, a bit of health, resistances as needed. I'm using Morning Frost because give a ton of base damage, since it adds cold to attacks and spells per point of dex, which I'm stacking anyway. Recently, I found these gloves. They have crit, they have mana regen. I'm very mana starved. They came with a hybrid health. I managed to craft the dexterity. And this, which is a ton of dex. It even has aerial assault, which is hybrid with minion damage. I'm not using aerial assault, but the minion damage is absolutely welcome. And frailty makes me a little tankier. So overall, that's my gear. So far, it's not great, but it's a start. And this is, again, just about 10 total hours played on the character at most, probably a bit less. Despite everything going better than I could have possibly expected, there has been one thorn in my side, and that's mana. I really don't have enough mana recovery yet. I've been trying to get a little bit on gear, but that's slow going while also maintaining dexterity and managing to cap my resistances. Also, my bow is really terrible. So priority number 1 is going to be farm Empowered Fall of the Outcasts until I get a better bow. Hopefully this is going to be something with a couple LP so that I can stick some other good mods on it like crit. This kills 2 birds with 1 stone. Actually, no, let's not kill birds. Birds are our friends. This kills 2 bosses with 1 stone because we're going to get a woven flesh, or maybe 10, and hopefully one of those has LP as well. So I'm going to try to stick levels to dive bomb or something else useful on it. But after that, the next future plan is to get Morning Frost with LP so that I can get desperately needed resistances. Or alternatively, if I feel like I'm able to push Corruption, I might just keep pushing it and try to farm an Omni. I know it's a fairly rare item and it's probably a really stupid thing to do right off the bat, but I don't know. Circle of Fortune has absolutely insane loot. I can probably Prophecy stack and abuse that, kill some bosses to force LP drops, and then feel pretty comfortable to push to 200-300 Corruption, take on Orbis. Hopefully keep doing that until I get an Omni. Or maybe I'll have a completely different plan. All I know for sure is I need to cap res. My tankiness is feeling pretty good. My overall damage is feeling pretty good. So I'm only going to make minor adjustments. I need a better weapon. And beyond that, I need to fix mana. For everything else, we'll see what time brings. That said, if you want to watch the progress unfold live, I will be over on Twitch TV or here on YouTube, streaming most of my experiences. It's not going to be absolutely everything I do play off stream, especially right now when I have to make videos, but I'll try to share a lot. I'm also hoping to cook up a couple more videos to help you progress and learn more about Last Epoch's mechanics. Stay tuned for those. And with that said, if you want something else to watch, check out my initial theory craft where I planned this build out, or some of the other resources which I'll link up in the card and down below. Now before I go, I'd like to take a minute to thank my patrons and channel members for the continued support. For as low as $1 a month, you can help make build update videos like this possible. A lot of the time these videos aren't popular and they don't really get pushed in the algorithm, but I do notice the watch time's high, which to me tends to mean you guys like it, so I keep doing it. And speaking of, thank you very much for watching to the end. I hope you learned something, and I'll see you again in the next one.